So my urge and appeal to you, members of the Fourth Estate, is to consistently communicate about the containment measures to combat COVID. But today, we are here not on matters COVID, though COVID is with us, but we're looking at various issues that have been happening around our Mandera region, which I'm sure by now we are all familiar with. You know, there have been skirmishes and confrontations in Gedo region, that is on the side of a neighboring country. And as a government, we have expressed concern, really, because of some of these skirmishes do lead to panic and fear of our people in Mandera town. But they also do lead to displacement of civilians from a neighboring country, Somalia, who often flee to Kenya for asylum and even for refuge. Now, these skirmishes, we have been able to establish and believe that are normally carried out between two forces, the Somali National Army and Jubaland security forces. You are aware that a couple of days ago, there were similar skirmishes, but I must report here that the town of Mandera is currently calm and peaceful, and socioeconomic activities are going on as normal. Schools are open, and activities are going on as normal. That is important to note. But it is also clear to us that this event that we've been witnessing have their genesis in the domestic political activities in Somalia, with every effort being made by the leaders in that country to give them an external dimension or external angle. As a country, we want to state very clearly and categorically that we will not accept to be drawn into internal politics of Somalia. We are therefore calling on all Somali leadership to desist from dragging Kenya into their domestic issues. We will, however, continue to push for peace and therefore urge all leaders in Somalia to create an environment that will facilitate the resolution of the conflict through dialogue. Now, this is critical in fostering a united front in countering militants who have for a long time destabilized peace and security in Somalia and the region. As a key player in the search for peace in the region, Kenya remains committed to the maintenance of peace and stability for development in this region. It is for this reason, ladies and gentlemen, that our troops operating under the auspices of AU, African Union, continue to be part and parcel of the regional peacekeeping effort for Somalia. You're all aware that some of our troops have been able to pay the ultimate price in the search for peace in this country. That, for any country, they should be grateful for that. We, as a country, have never spared any effort in trying to find a lasting solution in that country. And even to the extent of our soldiers, who are our brothers and sisters, who are fathers, uncles, nephews, losing their lives to help a country, that we believe that if that country is stable, the region will be stable. And therefore, as a country, we will continuously and continue to be able to push for stability in that country, because a stable Somalia is good for all of us in this region. Ladies and gentlemen, as already communicated to you through various press releases, allegations by Somalia that Kenya is sponsoring and harboring militia with the objective of destabilizing Somalia are not based on any merit. As a people, Kenyans are known the world over for their generosity and hospitality, perhaps more so by Somalis, who have found refuge in this country for more than 2 decades. While in the country, they continue to enjoy almost equal privileges as Kenyans. Due to this, it is here that most Somalis run to whenever violence breaks out in their country. They still do cross over into Kenya to seek certain services, even in situations where there is relative calm in that country. For instance, every single day, 3,000 learners cross into Kenya to seek education. Every day. You may already be aware, perhaps not, but I'll tell you what. Besides the 3,000 learners, 8,000 individuals cross into Mandera for business every single day. Over 500 mothers and the elderly also cross into Kenya to seek medical services. And this is because the nearby center of Bulahawa has got no health facilities. And as a peace-loving people, or a peace-loving country, we cannot stop them from crossing into our country. But when they cross, indeed, they overstretch our facilities. But we still bend backwards to allow them to come, not just for health services, but also for education, for business. It is not lost to any of us that we have over 270,000 other Somalis in refugee camps, out of which 81,000 are urban refugees in various urban centers doing businesses. And therefore, if this is a country where they run to in situations of violence, how then can we be the same country that is destabilizing that country, yet this is where they run for refuge? It beats logic, honestly. It would be really counterproductive for Kenya to destabilize Somalia in any way. Because we know for a fact that even when there is slightest conflict, or when there is famine and starvation, this is where they run. For food, for treatment, for education, for pasture, for any basic requirements. And whenever they cross, they are not denied services. They are treated in our hospitals, like I did mention. And therefore, there is no merit whatsoever, even logic, for us as a country to organize, to destabilize a country like that, whereas here is where they run. Because if we do that, where shall they run? They'll run here. And therefore, it is important that when a country is thinking about its foreign policy must take into account its nationals who are in the diaspora. That is common logic. So, in layman's language, you can say that you cannot necessarily begin to accuse the same hand that feeds you. And therefore, as a country, our desire for peace in the region is unmatched and was demonstrated when a fact-finding commission constituted by IGAD heads of state and government summit and led by the head of state of Djibouti, His Excellency Ismail Omar Gule. And I'm sure you was already aware about this because it has been made public. This commission visited Kenya to undertake fact-finding mission, to carry out a fact-finding mission, but also to verify some of the allegations and accusations that have been leveled against Kenya by Somalia leadership. And while here, this fact-finding mission was given unfettered access to all areas they wanted to visit, including being flown to the areas where it was alleged that Kenya is harboring and training militia to be deployed in Somalia for the purpose of destabilization. If indeed we were deploying or harboring militia, would we have taken them there? This commission itself decided that they're going to be taken to a certain place where, in their own estimation or briefing perhaps given to them on the other side of the border, that is where militias are being trained, they were taken there and there was nothing. But they also did fly across into the other country, and they saw where these militias were being trained. Not on our side, on their side. So even as we read various publications, various news items in the media, it is also important for us to begin to ask ourselves, is this really genuine? Before we publish anything. It is equally important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that the Commission concluded the following, amongst others, that the Kenya Defense Forces that I mentioned that is in Somalia is there just like any other regional military force that is operating under the auspices of IGAD, of AU mandate, not IGAD. And therefore singling out Kenya Defense Forces as being an invasion force. Yet it is not there as a force under the direction and guidance of Kenya as a Kenya government. These forces are given to the AU, then the AU deploys them. Not just Kenya Defense Forces alone. There are other forces that are operating in Somalia. Then why single out Kenya? It's something that you must ask yourself. What would be the reason behind that? The other accusation that has been again leveled against our country is that KDF, while operating in Somalia, do engage in illegal trade of sugar, contraband sugar, as well as charcoal. Now, the Commission also did find that there is no evidence to this, and the accusations were unjustified. Indeed, even there before, the UN had early investigated this claim with the same finding. You know, when there is an allegation like that, or an accusation of that nature, of a force that is operating in an asymmetric situation, then you ask yourself, where would they be engaged in this? At the point when the trees are being cut down? At the point when the trees are being burnt into charcoal? Or at the point when now this charcoal is being taken to the seaport? At what point do you find these soldiers being engaged in the sale of charcoal or in that charcoal business? Where do they take them in the first place? It beats logic. First of all, these are soldiers that do not live in normal structures that we are familiar with. They live in not just tents, in what we call handaki. How many people know handaki here? Maybe not. But these are foxholes. So at what time or at what point do you leave foxholes to go and engage in the sale of charcoal? Whom do you sell it to? So some of these accusations surely have got no merit whatsoever. So you must ask yourself, therefore, then, why would these allegations be leveled against a force that is operating to help in terms of securing peace and stability in that country for socio-economic development?
Well, that is Colonel retired Cyrus Oguna there, the government spokesperson, giving a briefing on matters security with a focus on the Kenya-Somalia spat. Of course, Somalia has been accusing Kenya of attempts to destabilize the country in terms of peace and security. Now, the government spokesperson saying clearly that Kenya will not accept to be thrown into the internal politics of Somalia. He says that the leadership needs to desist from dragging Kenya into its internal issues and saying that those allegations leveled against Kenya, including the Kenya Defense Forces who are serving under the African Union AMISOM troops in Somalia, that they are unfounded allegations. They say that, rather, Oguna says that Kenya has been receiving quite a number of people from Somalia, 3,000 people seeking education every day. He says 8,000 come in for business or cross the border for business. Others come in to also seek health services. And he says that when Somalia is thinking about its foreign policy, it needs to consider the diaspora, or rather the Somalis who are living in the diaspora, specifically Kenya. Of course, that is a story that we shall be following up on, and the details of that and more shall be brought to you